Now, this is the Fox 11 News at 6.
Some disturbing accusations against a UCLA doctor.
Dozens of victims claiming abuse, including a woman who says her physical trauma is permanent. Tonight, we're hearing from one of the alleged victims of former UCLA gynecologist Dr. James Heaps.
He's accused of sexual assault, sexual misconduct of patients during his tenure at UCLA's Student Health Center. Marla Tejas joins us with this woman's story. Marla.
Alex and Christine, Julie Wallach is not part of the class action lawsuit against Dr. James Heaps that was filed in federal court earlier this week. In fact, she and her lawyer tell me this proposed $73 million settlement is a slap in the face to the thousands of women who have come forward. Wallach tells me her abusive experience happened more than 20 years ago, but she remembers it like it was just yesterday. We do want to warn you, the details are graphic.
He didn't just touch me inappropriately in touching my thighs and my genitals, but he did irreparable harm to my cervix.
Julie Wallach says she was in her late 20s when she was referred to then UCLA gynecologist Dr. James Heaps. Wallach says in 3 visits in 1998, Dr. Heaps used instruments on her in such a way Wallach later learned she could not give birth naturally.
When I was having my first child, I was told that there was something that was done to my cervix that caused this to happen. So that was so hard.
What you're seeing here is a glimpse into what hundreds of women have experienced with this.
Attorney John Manley represents Wallach and more than 100 women who say Heaps sexually abused them during his decades-long UCLA tenure that ended when Heaps retired in 2018 after allegations first surfaced. Wallach shared the retirement letter she received as one of his patients that expresses, quote, mixed emotions about his retirement. Heaps was arrested in 2019, more than 20 years after Wallach says she filed a complaint with the UCLA Medical Board.
What was the response?
It fell on deaf ears.
On behalf of Wallach and his dozens of other clients, Manley is now filing individual lawsuits alleging the university turned a blind eye.
We believe the evidence will show that there was a cover-up. And there was a cover-up because Dr. Heaps was a producer. He produced income for the institution.
Since Heaps' arrest last year, more than 200 women have come forward. UCLA says it hopes this week's proposed $73 million settlement is a small step forward for the patients involved. As for Wallach, she is still holding out hope UCLA will come to recognize her.
I'd really like to see them to do right, to make proper amends here.
While Wallach is not part of the class action lawsuit, she is part of the class that would have to opt out of that $73 million settlement in order to pursue her own case if that agreement is, in fact, approved by the court. Now, as for Heaps, he faces 20 felony counts, and if convicted on all charges, more than 67 years in prison. Alex and Christine.
Wow. It's important to hear those personal stories, Marla. Thank you.
It's hard to hear
much.
them, but yes,
Yeah.
it very much is extremely important.
You know the reality of it there. All right. Thank you.